This is One on One. We are pleased to welcome here at NJPAC Elisabeth Egan, the author of a compelling book called A Window Opens. It's my wife Jennifer's favorite book these days. No, she actually finished it, so it's not her favorite book now. She was. And she just was so thrilled that we have you. And she's not the only one.
I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
This book, autobiographical to a significant degree?
Not to a significant degree. It certainly follows the course of my life to an extent.
But a novel?
Yeah, definitely a novel, yes.
Okay, so let's lay out some things. Alice Pierce, a book editor, leaves her job?
Yes.
To do what?
To go work for a company called Scroll, which is a company that is trying to reinvent reading the way that Starbucks reinvented coffee.
Okay, okay. And she's about 40-ish?
She's 38.
38, okay. And
I'm older.
She's married?
She is married.
Children?
3 children.
Okay, how many children do you have?
I have 3.
Just checking. So, and so what makes her life so interesting?
She is at a point in her life where she's ready to really spread her wings career-wise after having worked part-time for 12 years since her oldest child was born. And she goes to work at this job that seems like a dream job. She's really eager to lean in. Her husband has had a major...
Sheryl Sandberg lean in?
Yes.
Okay.
Her husband has had a career setback, and she needs to be more of the breadwinner than she has been before. And the job ends up not being at all what she expects it to be. And at the same time, her father, who has had throat cancer before, experiences a recurrence. And she finds herself in this moment in life where I think a lot of people have found themselves with this pull between her family, her work, her own sense of loyalty to her dad, her sense of ambition. And the book follows a year in her life as she tries to find her footing in all those places.
When did you write this book in your life?
I wrote it exactly 2 years ago. I started writing it at the Verona community pool. My older daughter is a swimmer, and her swim team practices there in the mornings, in the summer from 6 to 8 a.m. And I was determined to do something useful with the time because it's pretty excruciating to sit there for 2 hours and watch your kids swim, as much as I love watching her. And so I was inspired by my father-in-law, who had learned how to play the harmonica while commuting to work. He had one of those hands-free things. And so I sat there every morning for one summer and wrote for 2 hours. And then by the end of the summer, I had most of the first draft. But in my experience, that's the best way to get anything done when you have little kids, is to wake up early in the morning. And then I started working on it on my commute on the train to work. And that's where I finished it.
Part of your dedication, the acknowledgments go to New Jersey Transit?
Yes, because I thought the conductors on the train were very kind not to read over my shoulder, and they were patient with me when I didn't have my ticket ready or activated as you're supposed to.
What I'm fascinated by is the writing process. Those of us who have written books have our own way of trying to figure out how to get it done. But I'm fascinated by your story because when was it, in 2013? In summer of 2013, you were unemployed?
I was unemployed. I had actually been working at Amazon for the 13 months before I started writing this book. It was a job for me that turned out not to be the right fit. And very much like Alice, I found myself really in the wrong story. And I took that summer to regroup and figure out what it was that I wanted to do next. I didn't know if I wanted to go back to being a magazine editor where I had come from before.
Where were you?
I had been at Self magazine. I was the books editor at Self, and now I'm the books editor at Glamour. So, but I had always wanted to be a writer, and I had been one of those people who, when I graduated from college, I was sure I would become a writer, and then I became an editor instead. And I was about to turn 40 when I started writing the book, and I thought, now is the time. If I'm really going to give this a shot, I need to try.
What does it feel like when, by the way, getting a publisher? Tell folks what that's like.
I think I had a distinct advantage because I work in the publishing world.
But people still have to buy into it.
It was hard. I mean, it was
Yeah.
humbling. It was, you know, I've experienced my share of rejection.
There's a special club.
As we all do. And, you know, you always hear about that person who has a novel in the drawer. It's just part of the conversation about writing. And once I realized how humbling it would be to actually write a whole novel and put it in a drawer, I had a whole new appreciation for writers and for my job where I get 100 books every day to open. It gave me a new perspective on the people who put their dreams into those books.
What kind of reaction have you gotten? Because I told you my wife, Jennifer, when I asked her what she liked about the book, people can decide for themselves, but she said it spoke to her on a lot of levels. It impacted her, and just, she connected with it
That's
personally.
so nice to hear. I've heard that from a number of people. It's been really exhilarating is the only way I can describe it. I think...
Excuse me, we happen to have 3 kids as well.
Oh, wow.
She's in real estate, trying to figure out a lot of things. How much to work, can you have it all? And what the heck is it all?
I wish I had the answer to that question. I think... is
that part of what the book is about?
That is exactly what the book is about. And still, after spending a year writing it, I don't have the answer.
I thought you had the answer.
I don't have the answer. You know, I think it's a question that we all ask ourselves, men and women, and sometimes you have those brief moments where you feel like you have it all, and then you feel like it's slipping through your fingers. So my goal was to tackle that question and to reach women who... I'm someone, I always turn to novels for self-help, the way that some people go to the self-help section, I go to the fiction section.
Right.
And I couldn't find a book that represented the stage of life that I was in. Maybe your wife is in that stage also. That moment where your kids aren't little anymore and you start thinking about who it was you thought you'd be and you maybe aren't that person, and how to get there. So that was really what I wanted to hit on.
Your father's role in this?
My father, this is one area of my life that pretty closely tracks with the book. My dad did have throat cancer. He actually died when I was 30. He was 59. And he had lost his larynx to throat cancer, so for the last 5 years of his life, he wasn't able to speak. So I spent a lot of time during my 30s thinking about what it meant to have a voice, when it is important to raise your voice and speak up when you are not in a situation that you feel good about. And so the father's role in the book is similar to my dad's role in my life, although the timing is different. He was a great advisor, incredibly patient, very brave when he was sick. And it was interesting to me as I was writing the book to imagine what he would have been like 10 years later. In the book, he relies very heavily on texting and social media to communicate because he can't speak. And it gave me it was kind of cathartic. It made me feel like I had a chance to revisit him for a brief time.
A few seconds left. The reaction of those closest to you, your family, husband, kids?
My family has been unbelievably supportive. My kids are tired of hearing about the book, but thrilled. I have a 14-year-old. It's very hard to impress your 14-year-old, but she's impressed. So it's a good feeling.
And your friends, proud of you?
Very proud. And you realize what kind of community you live in when you publish your first book at 41, almost 42.
And New Jersey is a big part of this.
New Jersey is a major character in the book. I think New Jersey is an unsung hero. And my goal in life is to be, even though I never write poetry, it's to be the poet laureate of New Jersey, because this is the greatest place on earth.
We totally agree on that. The book is called A Window Opens. The author is Elisabeth Egan, your first novel. I have a feeling it will not be your last.
Thank
Congratulations.
you.
Well done.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Great job.
Thanks.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato at NJPAC has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence, and by the New Jersey Performing Arts Center, in cooperation with NJTV and 13 for WNET. Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato at NJPAC has been provided by TD Bank, Cohn Resnick, the law firm of Gibbons PC, Barnabas Health, NJ Best, Verizon Communications, and by the New Jersey Education Association. Promotional support provided by NJ.com, small news, big news, true Jersey, and by NJ Biz, all business, all New Jersey. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.